So, we're sitting on a canal lock. We're actually sitting on the lock itself. It's about to open because there's a boat coming or going. It's a beautiful sunny day. Alex, you were cycling past. We started having a chat. First of all, what's on your mind this morning? What do you need to do? What are you thinking about?
This morning is a special one. Nothing planned today. That's the thing. I woke up, had a lot of thoughts last night about what I'm doing at the moment because I'm writing something for theatre. That's my area.
Right.
But I'm encountering. I'm French also, by the way. So if there's something you don't, I say in the wrong way, you just
Your
tell me.
English is perfect.
But I encountered a kind of a block the last 2 days. So I'm in kind of a block and other things as well. So today I just decided to enjoy the weather, cycle around. I went to this cafe called Galata near the Regent Canal, by the Regent.
So there's a cafe just here which is quite popular, especially on days like this.
Yeah, it's perfect, and there's not a cloud. So, and then I was on my way to the groceries and then home, and then I was reading something about Regent's Canal, and I heard your previews.
Yes, I was chatting to someone just up the way, doing another podcast, and then we started chatting, and we've ended up sitting here.
Yeah.
Tell me about the block, this famous writer's block, which is kind of like a turn of phrase everyone's familiar with. Writer's block. It is a thing. What does it mean in practice? Does it mean that there's a problem that you just can't quite solve immediately, or is it more existential than that there's a great doubt of whether I can get through?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. It's funny. We talked about serendipity, but I heard your previous guest talking about self-doubt, and this is exactly what I experienced after. This is the first play that I'm writing as well.
Oh, so congratulations! That's great. Brilliant.
Thank you. It's not done yet, but that's where I want to end. But it's really all what was said before about I heard about the imposter syndrome. Is that, am I really the one entitled to write this? And so it was going well, and then I just hit a rock, and I'm not saying I'm going to stop, but it's just this moment, like, where am I going really with this? Like, that's what I would call the block. It's like, where am I?
That sounds quite. So that sounds quite. That's not a small problem. That's kind of like, or it's a problem that you need to somehow reduce in size, so it doesn't quite. How are you feeling about it at the moment?
It's really mixed. It's not bad. I'm not saying I'm feeling bad. I'm just feeling it's not. How to say that in English? At ease. I'm not feeling at ease.
Yeah.
I'm feeling uncomfortable and in a position where it's not comfortable, and I need to make a move somewhere, and until I don't do it, I will be in between. So it's a feeling of being in between.
There's a famous quotation from David Bowie in an interview where he said, being uncomfortable is part of the creative process. You need to sort of almost, if you're too comfortable, you can't be creative. And if you go slightly out of your depth, that's where the magic happens, is roughly what he was saying.
Yeah.
Is that something that you think you agree with, that actually being uncomfortable is part of a creative process for you?
Yeah, I think it is, and I've found myself in different places before. I've done a bit of acting, I've done directing, and I've encountered this moment. But this is, I think, one of the most, as you said, existential. So maybe it's one of these where you're like, something is happening, and so it's exciting, but it's a bit like a road. It could be a road to nowhere. That's why. I'm like, and this is maybe. But there's also the material aspect of it when you decide to write, because no one commissioned this it's something that really came from.
So it's your baby.
Yeah.
You just right. You haven't sold it to anyone. You're just creating it,
Yeah.
and then you want to give it to someone and say, "This is this thing I've created."
Yeah, and so far I've talked about it to different people. There's only one person who's reading, my girlfriend, and I'm very lucky to have that person. She proofread it in a way, but it's very, it's like very, she's encouraging it. So I'm not saying she has a good eye, but in the end it's like me and this text, and I think it needs to be confronted to the world, and that's the scary thing. It's like you said, baby, and at some point you also need to.
You kind of almost have to proof it in the fire,
Yeah.
so that other people kind of bounce off it.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, acting is about audiences. It's about public dissemination of the material.
Yeah.
It's at the core of what you do. So you know that this has got to go out there when it reaches its conclusion.
Yeah.
How do you know when it's ready for that point? I know that you're stuck at this particular bit of the creation, but let's say you get to the end, which inevitably you will, and then you'll go, at what point do I show it?
The thing is, I wanted to already do some readings, gather some actors, and by the way, I'm writing it in French at the moment, so it needs to be then translated. So voila, there's the whole question like, what the hell am I doing here? That I'm writing in French in London, but it's London. But I think I wanted to just gather some actors. There's lots of French-speaking actors in London, by the way, like speak English and French, but. And then I realized no, because it needs to go further. So that stage, I hope. I mean, the question is, when do I know? I don't know. It's like I know when there is the end at what I've written.
Right.
I know that if I've written the end, then it can go out, and then maybe I can change a few things after that. But.
Are you writing it in a longitudinal way, as in it just develops as you write it, or do you already have the plan? You have the beginning, you have the middle, the end, and you're just trying to put the pieces together in a coherent way?
Yeah, I have a beginning, definitely. I have a middle. I don't have the end. So
That's kind of exciting.
Yes. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle now, but and also I found that I had an idea when I started, but that idea changed many times. And being now in the middle, I woke up. I'm just gonna tell you that I woke up yesterday, and I was like, no, I need to change everything. So even if I have a beginning and a middle, I was like, maybe this is not really what I wanted to say. So I guess that's this insatisfaction that brought me here today, because I needed to get out of my.
I suppose also part of the thing is if it's your creation, there's an intensity to it, and there's a singularity because only you know about it and only you are involved in it. In the wider kind of acting world, you said you've done some directing, you've done some acting. When you've dealt with other people's scripts, when you're given a story to portray, it becomes a very communal event as everyone comes together, the actors doing the reading, and it sort of morphs out of the original concept, does it not, as it's actually performed? Is that what you're hoping is going to happen? What
Absolutely.
You're giving people is the seed, what they then produce is the flowers.
That's so well put. That's very well, exactly. That's because now it's not me and what I hear and what I write and what I also my girlfriend is reading, and but I think the minute it will be in a room with other people, they will give their voice, their interpretation, their flesh to it, and that will probably change everything for good or for bad. Maybe I will be like, oh, it doesn't work, but I know it's a process, and we use this word process a lot, but
What, in theatre?
Creative process, it really means everything and nothing, but in this case I can tell what it means, because it really means sharing it. You said communal, and I think that's it can't be just this.
Why just to sort of go to sort of the very basic level, why are you writing this play in the first place? What gave you the impetus and the feeling that you wanted to engage in this process?
So I've always wanted to not just act, because I come from a background more intellectual from my training.
Right.
I went to uni in France and political science and stuff, and then started acting. But when I was acting, I was missing the writing bit, and so I always thought I wanted to give it a go.
Right.
And
Okay.
so
So
it was part of my
it's always
journey.
been a feeling that I want to have this element as part of the whole theatre thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think that's. But then this particular subject is about care homes, so it's something that happened in my life with my grandmother and my two grandmothers. They were in the same care home in France, and
As old people.
as old people.
That's unusual that two grannies are in the same one.
Yeah,
So both of your grandmothers, were they good friends?
they were good friends, but my parents divorced. I mean, the story is not about that, but it's that they kept a relation, but one of them still alive. The other one passed away a year ago and a half.
Oh, sorry.
But the one of them has dementia. So
Right.
so their relationship also evolved alongside the dementia, because of course my grandmother, who has Alzheimer, was not able to communicate, and so that
Do
relationship.
you want us to shift off this?
I'll be coming through the bit, but you're
All right.
Oh,
It's there's another boat coming through.
I see you're like.
yeah. The issue of dementia is something that affects a lot of families. It's more and more of a common discussion amongst my friends with their elderly parents.
Do you know someone in your family? or is it-
Not in my family, not in my immediate family, but many of my friends. How has your family adapted, or how did they adapt to the onset of dementia and the slow goodbye that it means?
The what? Sorry.
The slow goodbye.
Slow goodbye. Yeah, that's true. Well, my response was to start writing about it. So that did a lot of research. But for instance, my mum, so that's her mother, my mum's mum. She has a younger brother, my uncle, and she has an older sister. They're all very different. So the older sister, my aunt, she's a doctor. She has a very rational approach to it,
Right.
trying to put a distance with it.
Yeah.
The younger, my uncle, disappeared. So he
Oh, interesting.
disappeared.
As in, he found it very difficult to deal with.
Very difficult to deal with, but I think there's other issues that were revealed, before the dementia appeared. My grandfather died, and the family tectonic change.
So almost the dementia brings in a tectonic change
Yeah.
in the plates of the family,
Yeah.
because it sort of breaks things open, moves things around a bit,
It moves things around,
and sort of other things come up.
and they all have different. I don't know how I would react if my mum. I kind of know because I've done research now, and
Yeah.
I think I would be very more receptive, open, and I don't know, adaptive, flexible. My mum is in the middle, and she really, really has the emotional role. So she really talks to my grandmother. She really, until now, she goes to see her every week. Not every day, sadly, sometimes. So it's always like someone will carry the burden. And the doctor, the aunt, she kind of like took her distance, saying this is not my mother anymore. So they all have different.
Yeah.
different,
That's interesting. And this is like the heart of the play that you're talking about.
something about,
Are you putting it onto other characters, or are you keeping it quite personal?
No.
Like for instance, I mean how the play portrays the situation. Is it your family situation, or is it a made-up situation which takes elements?
Yeah, that's the second one. So
Yeah.
it's another situation inspired by my family situation.
Yeah.
and I kind of like stretched it and.
Oh, it sounds like the very heart of what it is to be human and the very heart of what it is to be a family, because it's a huge problem and it's a confrontation and it's about loss and it's about love. There's so many things mixed in.
Yeah.
What have you as you've done your research, as you've done your writing, how has your understanding of dementia and the circumstance of your own granny, how has your understanding changed, or have you essentially kept the same viewpoint and emotional reaction?
Well, I think it's as you said, it's a slow goodbye, but it's I think it's always been here. It's just like we put a name on it, and they used to call it madness or whatever. That was like dementia or old age. But I still, what I think discovered is like communication is still possible and necessary, and it's a non-verbal communication. So with my grandmother, thanks to the research that I've done, I know that if I go visit her, she's in France, but I can just be there holding her hand, feeling the movements she does with the hand, and that's
lovely. So that physical touch gives you a direct connection past the dementia to the heart of her.
Yeah, but many people say that no, she's just this reflexes. So I don't know. There's a mystery about it. So people say it's just a reflex, but she. So it's maybe how
the way that she presses your hand or gives you a response.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, it's what I talk also in the play is agency. Like, for instance, if she becomes friend with someone, as someone with Alzheimer, is she really becoming friend with that person, or is it just?
Well, as in she might forget the next day who this person is,
but then
she won't know who.
No, there's some continuity in the relationships that she had. So, for instance, she would be with a certain person and return next to that person, although there's no language. It was just, I don't know. Is it like a more human version of us would make? I don't know, like less, calculation. It's more like spontaneous and I don't know. It's not clear.
Do you want your play to reflect that lack of clarity? Do you want the audience to be left with lots of sentences that end with ... instead of a full stop or an exclamation mark? You kind of want to leave everyone open to interpret, because lots of people who come to the play will know of dementia in their family, and they will have a very personal reaction to what you're portraying. How are you trying to sort of come to the end of the story with the dementia, the end? Well, I know you say you haven't got the ending yet.
I mean, there's something that happens, but I haven't revealed it because this is maybe pretentious, but no, it's really like the core of the story. There's something that happens, and I haven't really revealed it here, but this is something I keep because it's the nuclear heart of the story, I would say. So I'm trying to develop that. But so there are. I mean, there's a lot of dots. Yeah, there's a lot of dotted dots, but especially because people with dementia they talk, and sometimes they talk in dots. Like there's lots of mystery.
Yes, because they run out of the point that they are saying.
Yeah.
So they just trail off.
Yeah, they try, but on the other hand, there are people who come to the care home, and they're so stressed, or what's the word? What they see there is so disturbing. In the end. That they come with a certainty and speeches that are so. There's an opposition of people with dementia talking in dots, but also people who come here with their fake certainties, and they're like, no, this is this. Yeah, okay, she's all right. Like trying to make sense of all of it.
It's no, absolutely. It's almost as if I can imagine in a dramatic form, it's almost as if the person with dementia is almost not she is at the heart of it. The person with dementia is at the heart of it, but it's about people's reaction to it.
Also, yeah.
That's really what's being explored.
Yeah,
because with the person with dementia has dementia. That's it.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
an enigma.
and they can only act in the way they can outside of their own sort of conscious.
Yeah, so how people react to it,
How
and
people react
how
to
they also project their
Yep.
thoughts, feelings, ideas, identities on this person who become like how do you say that, blank canvas.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
when you project your
Yes.
everything. It's like I don't know. Maybe it's like a child in the end, because adults project themselves on the child. The child is a new blank canvas, and I guess an old person with dementia. But it's not, because they have their past, they have their story, they already have their identity.
Yes.
So it's very.
Yes, and you want to treat the person with dementia with respect.
Yeah,
You want
it's
to
not a child,
you
it's
want to
exactly.
treat them as the person that they are,
Yeah.
even if they have.
moving.
Right, he's opening this lock gate. Let us
Yeah.
maybe just stand to one side. It's do you know, the more we talk about it, the more interesting it sounds as an idea to sort of work through. Luckily, I've never had to directly get used to someone in my immediate family having dementia.
Yeah.
You never know what the future holds. But it sounds like it's a rich vein for discussion of the human condition.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
This is your first writing. This is your first play
Yeah.
that you're
I
writing,
haven't chosen the
and it's a
easiest.
very personal one.
Yeah.
In a way that sort of gives it a great responsibility. You've given yourself a great responsibility.
You mean like
Like you're not writing about something which is
yes.
just a sort of a general thing. You're writing
Yeah.
about a personal thing. So
Yeah, I think-
you're kind of putting more, not a burden, but you're putting more intensity into what you're doing.
Yeah, and many people I've read or heard many people saying, I mean, I've written stuff, but on this scale, no. But many people say, yeah, start with something simple. Talk about your neighbors.
Right.
Talk,
So some people
talk
have said
about
to you, "What are you
football,
doing?
talk about-
That's so complex."
yeah, why are you going there now? But honestly, it's just like I've really pulled that rope, and
Yeah.
it really came, and I really okay. There's really something, you know, that I want to explore there. I don't know, you know.
Great.
Yeah. So.
That's great.
But also I don't know, in England, because it really is set in France, and in France there was this scandal around care homes as well, which is in the background. You
Okay,
know.
so I'm unfamiliar with this. Tell me about this scandal.
Well, in France, there's a journalist who came, I think it was during COVID or after COVID, came with wrote a book about a care home company who had a very industrial approach to care home,
Right.
which led to lots of abuses.
Right. So
and I
there was
guess-
not much care, and there was lots of lack of care.
Yeah, because it's all about numbers and.
And this
profits
was all exposed, and then everyone in the general public, when they read this, were like, "Oh my goodness, what's
Yeah,
going
it
on?
was-
We
it was a
did
big shock. Yeah.
This has been visible to us."
Yeah, it was a big shock because it also involved luxury care homes. So with people because it had been around for like, I don't know, 10 years. Like we talk about care homes and
Yeah.
the lack of, but it's only now that we saw that it was also like famous politicians or, you know, actors or singers, famous people like personality send their parents there, and they also have the same problem in the end. So
Right.
it became a national problem. Because
So
of that. So I don't know, maybe in England it will.
Right. So
one day.
it was a kind of a leveler. It doesn't matter about what level of expense you put into it.
Exactly.
The result was the
Could
same.
be 6K, it could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
10K,
yeah.
I don't know how much, but
Yeah.
the revelations were that in the end, because of the lack of interest that we, the children, put in our parents when
Yeah.
they're at this stage of life, you can put 6,000 and it goes to that company and
To
they don't-
nothing, yeah,
So
and-
it was
and
a
lack
big,
of care. Yeah, I mean,
big issue.
the
yeah.
issue of care of the elderly is always going to be. say I've spoken to people in different countries in different situations about this, and there's always this assumption that at the end of your life you should be cared for, you should have a relaxed life, you should have everything that you need because of your age, because of your vulnerability. But it is so often the case that there are problems within the system, or that the family units are not as strong as we thought they were, and that things are not quite as they seem. So that having had that national care scandal in France, has it brought about legislation changes? Have there been actual results of this scandal?
Well, that's a good question because it's still very recent, so they're still auditioning. I think people. I mean, that company, for instance, they just changed the name, they changed the team, but I think the same structure, the same system is there. But I since 2023, I don't know what has really changed. I don't think much because it was in 2022, 23. There's an awareness. That definitely is an awareness, but there's no I think real change so far. It's on the surface.
And does it come into your play? Does it in any way feed into the storyline of your play?
It's in the
this
background.
particular,
Yeah, it's in the background.
Right.
Yeah. So.
I mean, you've written it in French. It's about French characters, but you're going to translate it.
That's the goal.
Into English. Does it matter what language it's in?
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
You think it will just easily transfer between cultures and languages?
I think it should. I think it's a Western kind of problem.
Yeah.
If West means something, so I think it's a Western thing because I don't know how they have care homes in Egypt. I don't know how it works, but I think the units are very strong, as you said, family units. I think the elderly stay till the end with their families. I think in the West we delegated it. So it could be in Belgium, could be in France, in Italy, or in Spain, or in England. I think.
Right.
Even more so in England, I think the system is also kind of questioned more and more. So yeah.
And just going back to your family, in the way that they have reacted to the grandmother with dementia, has it made you reassess the family? Because it's sometimes the case that with the family that it is set in stone, and you go through many years, and then something happens, and then you see a family in a different light, and you have to sort of slightly reorganize or rethink about how you think about different members of the family. How are you kind of processing how people have been dealing with dementia in your family?
There's, we mentioned before, there's different reactions. But so what's the question?
I suppose the question is, has it brought a level of judgment into how you think about the other members of your family and how they react?
Yeah. It kind of reveals who we are, who they are. But it's without being too judgmental. I know that there are some forms of denial, some forms of not wanting to know, going away, and I think it's a tragedy. So it's a tragedy to go through, and I think you can learn from it, like in an ideal world. But some of the people in my family just decided to ignore it until it became real financial issue and how they're going to deal with it. But it really reveals the human aspect of every person. Like, who talks about just the money, who talks just about how she should be treated and feeling and all that. It really really distributed the roles. So how do I look at it? I don't know. It's very puzzling.
And going back to the drama that you're writing, and the block that you have, can you describe what the block is, if not in specifics, just generally?
So for instance, I saw kind of the structure, and I was okay. I've got Act 1, Act 2, and from Act 2, now I want to start the new act, Act 3, and I think I don't want the play to be 5 hours long, so I kind of try to put the limit to an hour and a half, because, you know, first whatever, so try to be humble, and then I'll have to reduce. So I have all these also, you know, think of production and is it how realistic it is, and I think when these questions became too important, it kind of froze me. It's like, oh my God, am I doing something for the National Theatre, and who am I? And this the imposter syndrome that comes, like, what am I just fucking doing? Just write a monologue and that would be enough. But I've directed shows and stuff, so I know that. I already know the industry.
You know the architecture of how it happens and how it's developed and delivered.
Yeah, I think I blocked, and also I think when I touched the nerve of what I'm talking about, which I'm not gonna reveal now, but I arrived at that thing, and I was like, this is really touching something also personal, deep, and how me, the grandson, so not just the character I'm creating out of it, how was I really affected by what happened? And that I think that's because I haven't really thought about it. I haven't really, you know.
That's
so I think the block came there.
So actually,
I think,
you might need to give yourself a bit of thought before you give the play a bit of thought.
Yeah, and maybe just how I felt, because we you know, it's a very common thing now. We think too much, we feel not enough. But how was I affected by this thing that happened? And I think I've always kind of pushed it away as well. Now that I'm facing it, that's the block. So I think the block is the body saying, dude, just stop 1 minute, just go up. Just how do you feel about it? Yeah, I don't know, that just really comes like this. But
so give yourself some time.
Yeah.
Give yourself a day or two to think about it.
Yeah.
Without trying to solve the problem.
Exactly. Because it's not engineering, it's a different, it's not like ropes and cables, so I guess that's where
are you confident that you'll find the way through?
No. That's the beauty of it, but no. I in a way yes, but I think it's weird because you've been told many times it's normal, it's part of the process. So in a way I've got this voice telling me, yeah, that's normal, it's part of the process. But in a way I don't know what's if I can sit and but yeah, no, honestly the no is an open no, because I know I can sit and just I need to write one scene and then it can really lead to other things, because I've had that before between Act 1 and Act 2. So, but now it's touching the nerve of it, so I need more time, I think. Yeah.
So how are you going to spend the rest of today? You're
gonna groceries.
You're gonna buy some groceries. It's a sunny day. You're going to spend the day outside.
Yeah, but I got my bike there, so just cycling, groceries, and then trying to get back on the writing bit just a bit to see. So maybe that conversation will maybe open new path.
So you're not going to try and put it to one side and not think about it and think about other things. You
can't. That's the thing. It's an
you
obsession.
Can't. Yeah. It's an obsession.
Like even I, you know.
So you're living, breathing this story.
At that point, yes. Yeah. And that honestly, that's why I stopped. Also, I was reading, and then I heard a conversation with that lady, which was lovely. And then I was like, oh, there's this. Like she could be in the play. She could be a character in the play because she was, talking about her life, and there's one character like that in the play. So I don't know. Yeah, I was. Does it make sense, or?
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's kind of life. Yeah. You go around in a public place. You listen to what other people are saying. It kind of feeds into how you're thinking.
Serendipity.
Serendipity, and I wish you luck. I wish you luck. I'm sure you will find your way through, but it's interesting that you also have to do a bit of internal soul searching as part of that process.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Anyway, it was a pleasure in the end. Like I didn't know where I was going with this, but I hope it's gonna move things. Yeah.